We need like sound music, like the dun 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 dun. No. This is a very low budget video series. Hey everybody, it's Patrick from He-Man.org. My username there is PaTrIcKfOgArTy. Oh no, PaTrIcKfOgArTy. And this is my son Jeffrey.
Hey there.
Who also is going to have a username. It's actually being validated as we speak, and that will be Jeffrey.
Yep.
And we've been Masters of the Universe fans for quite some time. I've been a fan since I was little, since the beginning. And Jeffrey has been a fan since he was 4, from the 2002 launch, pretty much forward. And what we're excited to do is we've been talking a lot about He-Man lately and the new Masters of the Universe Classics line, which I guess isn't very new anymore. It's been around for a couple years. But we've been listening to He-Man.org's Roast Google Dinner, and we always watch Pixel Dan's video reviews, and we thought maybe it would be fun to do a series of our own. I also maintain and run the Masters of the Universe Classics portal, and while I've had to scale that site back a little bit just because of lack of time, this should be pretty easy for us to do, and we can shoot a video up. But basically what we want to do is just take a figure, read the bio, and then talk a little bit about what we liked about the bio and what we didn't like, and the action figure maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
But for this video, we just really wanted to introduce ourselves. So again, we've been longtime fans of the Masters of the Universe line. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. I'm 33, so I was born in 78. So about the time the line started to roll out, I was maybe a little young, but actually I remember the figures first coming out very well, because going to a toy store was a big deal for us. We didn't have a vehicle, so when we did go, I was very dialed into what there was new for toys on the shelves, and I immediately gravitated towards the Masters of the Universe toy line. The colors, the packaging, everything about it was unlike anything else I'd ever seen, and we were very limited as a family with resources, so we didn't get toys often, and we had very low-key sort of vacations and such, so it was a big deal just to go to the toy store, and it was an even bigger deal if we got to buy something. But my mother had started to get us, my brother and I, these figures. She'd surprise us. We'd be at school, and we'd come home, and one figure would be on the pillow, maybe once a month, maybe a little bit more than that. And it was so much fun, and I just remember I loved the comics, and I loved the figures, and then the cartoon came out, and I was just hooked from that point on, and watched the original cartoon, watched the Princess of Power series, and then loved it. I remember Secret of the Sword being like the best movie ever, and then I started, as I got a little bit older, to phase out. I don't know if I was phasing out or if certain things phased me out. I was not a fan. I remember going to the '87 movie, and I was so disappointed in the movie. Didn't like it at all. And I don't even remember New Adventures existing, honestly. So I think I had phased out prior to the even coming on, or if it had come on and I realized I certainly wouldn't have been. Now I can look back and I appreciate it. I actually think it has a lot of really great qualities, but at the time as a kid it was not the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe that I loved, and so I moved on quickly. And then I think I grew out of toys and got into girls and other things. So I didn't really keep the fandom alive until it came back for me when in 2001, Jeffrey, who was at the time, he was 4, we were at the mall and we had gone into a KB Toys, and I just sort of glanced and I saw the 2002, obviously, He-Man figure, and I couldn't believe it. Jeffrey accuses me of squealing, but I don't think I squealed.
It kind of sounded like it.
Yeah, it was a squeal. It's not funny. He's 14, so he's got that 14-year-old perspective that we all can appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah. But basically, immediately got home, got on the internet, found He-Man.org, registered, and have been a big fan, and have stayed a part of the community ever since. My username back then was Patty04401. And then I don't know if my account was closed because of inactivity. I didn't really post much. So I ended up getting back into another account. And then when I donated to the site, I changed the name again to PaTrIcKfOgArTy. So my actual start date it's not right, and it drives me nuts every time I look at my profile because I want credit, damn it. Basically, loved the 2002 line and brought Jeffrey in at that point. And then I continued with the Stactions, and then really right into Masters of the Universe Classics. I love the Masters of the Universe Classics line, and I was really in opposition of it initially, just before a product was even released, because 2002 was definitive for me, and I've completely actually changed gears 100%. I still love the 2002 line, love the Stactions, loved that cartoon, but for me, Masters of the Universe Classics is a lot of what I really, really have always wanted. So as a toy collector, and as a fan from that line. So that's my story in a 6-minute summary. And so do you want to talk about you and how you got interested in...
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I said, 4-year-old me, we were walking around the mall and we went into KB Toys, and there Patty saw the He-Man figures, or I believe it was He-Man himself, and that was the first one you saw.
Yeah. And
you had quite a reaction when you saw it. And so obviously it was something that you knew and that you'd known. And I remember right after we left the store, we went over to the movie store somewhere in the mall there. And I remember that's where I got my first He-Man figure from the 2002
line.
From the 2002 line.
What was it?
It was Stratos.
Okay.
And that was when, and then that just kind of started the chain of us going, and whenever a new figure would come out or looking just for new figures, and we would go to stores and we would look in the boxes if they had them sitting on the aisles to see if there were new figures in there, looking for that box. And we'd get 2 from each one for me and one for Patty, and we would just set them up in our collection wherever we had them. And we just loved to go out and find them. And then He-Man really faded out for me when I got a little older. And then recently, like I was saying, we got back into He-Man listening to the podcast on He-Man.org, and the bios have interested me. And so recently I've been kind of getting back into He-Man and wanting to learn a little more and more about it.
Yep, and it's kind of cool because I didn't leave the fandom, but Jeffrey changed gears. He's always been a big Batman fan. That hasn't ever changed.
Yes.
But, when he was younger with 2000X, it was a big deal because we'd go out hunting the toys together, and I bought 2 of every figure, one for him, one for me. And actually, He-Man.org was able to get us each the Faker figure, which was an exclusive figure, because you did have a username at one point.
Yeah.
But he never posted, and obviously I think that account was closed as well. I think you were Goosey 04401. Then he did phase out, and I didn't really phase out, which was kind of sucky for me. So over the time, it's been great for me to see him sort of circle back in, and he's been enjoying the roast Google dinner. I think you really have a fondness for Eamon.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, Eamon, and it makes you laugh.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about trying to get out to PowerCon. We really hope to be able to get out there. Gotta just make the schedules work. But I think it's really interesting because, when we were watching 2000X, I liked it a lot, but I love Filmation and the Filmation cartoon, just visually and more than anything else, but that was where it was at for me. And you really liked 2002.
Yeah.
And not so much the Filmation stuff. Didn't really take to it.
No.
And Jeffrey loves the bios, and he's loving the story. And so we're really excited to say, hey, introduce ourselves, and basically we're going to take a figure and read the bio, and then talk a little bit about the action figure with no edits, very low budget. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next video. And as they say in the He-Man world, we don't say goodbye, we just say good journey.
Good journey.
See ya.